She asked what he truly wanted. His honest answer triggered a sacred bond. No one expected light flowed across curved crystal walls, changing color with every sound, every breath. Symbols older than recorded history drifted in the air like slow-moving stars. Each one carried meaning, law, and memory. No one spoke unless required. No one moved unless permitted. Elias Rowan stood at the center of it all. He was human, which meant he felt very small, not because he was weak, but because everything around him was old beyond understanding. The Lithari had watched suns rise and fade while humanity was still learning how to look up. Their allies, gathered on floating platforms around the chamber, represented dozens of species. Some were tall and thin, others wide and armored, others barely solid at all. All of them were watching Elias. He kept his hands relaxed at his sides as he had been trained. His breathing was slow. Calm mattered here. Fear was seen as noise. Confidence without reason was seen as danger. Elias was not a soldier. He was not a scientist. He was not a ruler. He was a cultural envoy. That alone had surprised the conclave. Humans had joined the interstellar community only 18 years ago. In that short time, they had earned a strange reputation, not for strength, not for advanced machines, but for adaptability. They asked questions others stopped asking long ago. The Lithari did not like questions. A low vibration passed through the chamber. The light dimmed slightly. Elias knew what that meant. Someone important was about to speak. High Speaker Sarava emerged from the glow. She did not walk, she unfolded. Her form was tall and layered, like flowing stone shaped by thought instead of gravity. Soft lines of silver light traced patterns across her surface, shifting with emotion. Her eyes, if they could be called eyes, were deep and reflective, holding more focus than judgment. She was ancient, and she was curious. Elias Rowan, Sarava said. Her voice echoed not through air, but directly through awareness. Human representative. You stand before the conclave to define your people's place. Elias inclined his head. I am honored, Speaker. Several observers shifted. The word honor meant different things across species. To some, it meant obedience. To others, surrender. To humans, it meant respect without loss of self. Sarava studied him. Your species grows quickly, she said. Too quickly, some believe. You adapt to loss, you adapt to failure, you adapt even to us. A ripple of agreement moved through the chamber. Elias chose his words carefully. We had to learn quickly, we did not have a choice. Choice, Sarava repeated. The word lingered. An interesting concept. The conclave's symbols rotated faster. Elias felt a pressure behind his eyes, not pain, but attention. The chamber was listening now. Your records show conflict, Sarava continued. Internal division, contradiction, yet you persist. You cooperate even while disagreeing. You reach outward even while unsure. She paused. This confuses many of us. Elias did not smile. This was not the time. We confuse ourselves too. That earned a soft shift in the chamber's light, not approval, but interest. Sarava raised one luminous limb. The conclave requires clarity before expansion of trust. We have asked your leaders about goals, about resources. About defense? Yes, Elias said. They answered honestly. They answered carefully, Sarava corrected, as all species do. She turned slightly and the floating symbols slowed. Today, she said, I will ask something else. Elias felt it before the words came. The air tightened. Several delegates reacted at once, flickers of alarm, sudden stillness, muted signals of protest. Sarava ignored them. This question is not permitted by standard protocol, she said calmly. It is considered destabilizing. Elias' pulse quickened. He did not move. But humanity has already introduced instability, Sarava went on, not through force, through uncertainty. The chamber dimmed further. Elias Rowan, she said, set aside your role, set aside your people's strategies. She faced him fully now. Tell me, Sarava said, what do you truly want? Silence fell like gravity. The conclave froze. Several species reacted instantly. Energy patterns spiked. Communication signals flared and cut off. That question was never asked, not like this. Desire among the Lithari was sacred and dangerous. To name it was to bind it. Elias felt the weight of the moment settle into his bones. He had been trained for negotiations, for layered meaning, for indirect answers. But this question did not allow for those things. Sarava was not asking humanity what it wanted. She was asking him. His mind raced. Any wrong answer could damage years of fragile trust. Power, territory, knowledge, those were expected, safe, predictable. But something in Sarava's presence told him that expected answers would fail. She was watching for something else. Elias swallowed. He thought of Earth, of cities rebuilt after disaster, of people arguing fiercely then standing together when it mattered, of humans reaching for meaning even when the universe did not explain itself. He thought of choice, and then he spoke. "I want," Elias said slowly, "to choose my own meaning." A tremor passed through the chamber. Gasps, if such a thing could exist among non-human species, rippled across the platforms. Elias continued because stopping now felt worse. "I want to decide who I become," he said. "Not because of fear, not because of rules written before I existed, but because I understand the cost and accept it." The light around Sarava shifted sharply. Elias felt warmth spread across his chest, not from emotion but from something responding. "And," he added, his voice steady, "I want others to have that same right." The symbols stopped moving, every one of them. For a heartbeat, the universe held still. Then the chamber changed. Lines of ancient light flared into existence beneath Elias' feet. Symbols long dormant awakened, burning with quiet intensity. The air hummed, not loudly but deeply, like a chord struck across reality itself. "Impossible," someone transmitted. "That pattern is forbidden," another signaled. Sarava did not move. Her surface glowed brighter, patterns reshaping themselves without conscious command. For the first time in centuries, her form reacted without permission. "The Axiom Covenant," she whispered. The words carried weight older than the conclave itself. Elias felt a sudden connection snap into place, clear, sharp, undeniable. Not a voice, not a thought, a presence. He staggered slightly, then steadied himself. "Speaker?" he asked. Sarava looked at him, and something had changed, not fear, recognition. "The Covenant responds only to truth," she said slowly, "and only to those who choose without coercion." Energy flowed between them, visible now, a gentle arc of light linking human and Lithari. Delegates erupted in alarm. "This is a violation." "I just answered." "That," Sarava replied, "may be enough." The bond settled, not painfully, but firmly, like a promise made real. For the first time since humanity joined the stars, the galaxy did not see them as students. It saw them as something unexpected. A species whose greatest strength was not power, but honest choice. And the conclave would never be the same again. That alone was enough to shake the conclave. The ancient chamber, once calm and controlled, filled with sharp waves of energy. Symbols that had slept for thousands of cycles began to drift again, not in order but in confusion. Their colors shifted between warning and uncertainty. Elias stood frozen, afraid that even breathing too loudly might make things worse. He could feel the bond now. It was not pain, it was not control, it was awareness. He felt Sarava's presence like a distant horizon, vast, quiet, and watching, not thoughts, not memories, just understanding, a shared space where honesty had weight. Sarava felt it too. For the first time in her long existence, something responded to her without ritual, without command. The Covenant did not obey rank. It did not care for age or authority. It responded to truth, and that unsettled her. "Contain the chamber," ordered one of the elder delegates, a towering figure wrapped in layered energy shields. This interaction was not approved. Others signaled agreement. Defensive systems activated. Soft barriers rose between platforms, separating species as fear spread faster than logic. Elias finally moved. "Speaker Sarava," he said carefully, "if this is dangerous, tell me what to do." Several delegates reacted at once. "He dares to speak." Through the bond, she sensed his fear, not weakness but responsibility. He did not want power. He wanted to understand the cost of his words. That, too, was unusual. "The Axiom Covenant," Sarava said aloud, "was formed before the conclave, before our oldest laws." Images appeared in the air, ghost-like visions of ancient assemblies, long-gone civilizations, and symbols brighter than the stars outside. "It was meant to link those who chose their path freely," she continued, "to guide growth through shared understanding." A ripple of discomfort passed through the gathered species. "That path was abandoned," an elder interrupted. "It led to instability." "It led to change," Sarava corrected. Her light dimmed slightly as she focused inward. Through the bond, fragments of Elias' memories brushed against her awareness. A child watching rockets rise from Earth's surface. A city rebuilding after loss. People arguing fiercely, then standing together. None of it was perfect. All of it was chosen. Sarava stiffened. The bond deepened. Elias gasped softly, clutching his chest, not in pain but in shock. He felt something vast open before him, a sense of age and patience beyond anything human, stars being born, civilizations rising in strict order, laws written to prevent chaos. And beneath it all fear, not fear of destruction, fear of uncertainty. "You see it now," Sarava said quietly. "Yes," Elias replied, his voice shook but he did not pull away. "You were afraid to choose again." That admission sent a shock through the chamber. Accusations flared. "The bond is corrupting her." The bond could not be severed by fear. Sarava straightened, her form glowing with calm authority. "Stop," she commanded. "Any further interference risks collapse of the chamber." Reluctantly, the others complied. She turned to Elias. "You are not meant to be here," she said. "Not like this. I didn't plan it," Elias answered. "I only told the truth." "That," Sarava said, "is why it answered." The conclave demanded judgment. An emergency council formed within moments. Representatives spoke in rapid bursts of signal and sound, arguing meaning, blame, and danger. Some wanted Elias removed immediately. Others feared that doing so would trigger unknown consequences. Elias was escorted, not restrained but guided, to a platform beside Sarava's. That alone shocked the chamber, a human standing beside a high speaker. Through the bond, Elias felt Sarava's attention turn inward again. She was measuring something, not him, but herself. "The covenant binds both participants," she said privately, her thoughts brushing against his. "You cannot leave now without consequence." Elias exhaled slowly. "Neither can you." "No," she agreed. "I cannot." The council reached a decision. "The bond will be tested," announced the elder delegate. "If it proves unstable, it will be dissolved by any means necessary." Elias looked up. "Tested how?" Sarava answered. "By truth." The chamber reshaped itself. Platforms shifted, drawing Elias and Sarava into the center. The light softened, becoming reflective. "This is a resonance field," Sarava explained. "It reveals intention. Deception cannot exist here." Elias swallowed. "So if I lied earlier, the bond would already be breaking," she said. That was not comforting. The test began. The field activated, pulling at both of them, not physically but mentally. Elias felt memories rise without resistance. His doubts, his regrets, his quiet hope that humanity could belong without losing itself. Sarava felt something she had never allowed herself to feel before. Doubt. Her civilization had been built on certainty, fixed paths, stable futures. Choice had been seen as risk. But through Elias, she felt something else. Growth born from uncertainty, not chaos, possibility. The field responded, brightening with every shared realization. Observers watched in silence as the covenant stabilized further, its patterns growing clearer instead of fading. "This should not be possible," one delegate whispered. Another answered, "Unless the covenant was never broken, only waiting." The test ended. The light dimmed. Elias staggered, exhausted but standing. Sarava remained steady, though something in her posture had changed. She looked lighter. "The bond holds," she said. The chamber erupted again, this time with fear mixed with awe. The council withdrew to deliberate. Elias and Sarava were left alone in the center, bound by something neither fully understood. "What happens now?" Elias asked. Sarava considered the question carefully. "Now," she said, "the galaxy must decide whether it fears choice or learns from it." She looked at him directly. "And so must we." Beyond the chamber, messages were already spreading, rumors of a human triggering an ancient force, of a sacred bond formed without ritual. Humanity's name echoed across networks and star systems, not as conquerors, not as threats, but as something far more unsettling, a reminder that the future was not fixed, and that scared the stars more than any weapon ever could. While Elias Rowan rested on a quiet platform of soft light, the galaxy argued around him. Signals crossed star systems. Councils met in secret. Ancient records were opened for the first time in generations. The Axiom Covenant had awakened, and no one agreed on what that meant. Elias stood alone at the center of a new chamber when the summons came. This room was different from the first. It was wider, darker, and shaped like a circle without edges. The walls reflected not light but memory. High Speaker Sarava appeared beside him, calm as ever, though the bond between them pulsed gently like a steady heartbeat. "This is the Hall of Meaning," she said. "Few have entered it, fewer still have left unchanged." Elias glanced around. "I'm guessing this is the trial." "Yes," Sarava replied. "The final one." Platforms rose from the floor. Representatives of the conclave took their places, their forms tense and alert. Above them, ancient symbols reappeared, glowing softly. "The trial is simple," announced the elder delegate, "and impossible." Elias frowned. "That sounds unfair." "It is," the elder replied. "Truth often is." Sarava turned slightly toward Elias. "The trial will compare civilizations," she explained. "Not strength, not technology, meaning." Elias felt the bond stir. "Meaning of what?" "Existence," she answered. The hall activated. The air shimmered and the space before them opened like a window. Images formed, clear, sharp, and alive. The first vision showed the Lithari past, a vast world of crystal cities and ordered skies, every being moved with purpose. Every role was defined from birth. Leaders led, builders built, thinkers thought. There was peace. There was stability, there was no question of why. "This is our foundation," said one Lithari elder. "Certainty, continuity." The vision shifted. Time passed. Civilizations grew powerful. The same patterns repeated. Expansion without conflict. Order without deviation. Then came the covenant. A younger Lithari stood at the center of a circle bonded to another species. They shared thoughts, ideas, curiosity. Change followed. Questions appeared. Doubt. Fear. The vision ended abruptly. "We ended the covenant," the elder said. "We chose survival over uncertainty." The hall went quiet, then the symbols shifted toward Elias. "Now," said the elder, "the human record." Elias felt a knot in his chest. The vision changed. Earth appeared, blue, fragile, alive. Then images rushed forward. Early humans huddled around fire, unsure of the dark. Cities rising and falling. Wars, peace, mistakes repeated and lessons learned slowly. The conclave watched in silence as humanity struggled, failed, rebuilt. "There is disorder," one delegate noted. "Yes," Sarava said. "But continue." The images moved faster, people crossing oceans with no guarantee of return, scientists questioning old truths, voices demanding change even when it was dangerous. Loss, hope, choice. Elias felt Sarava react through the bond, not with judgment but with something close to wonder. The vision ended on a simple scene, a human standing beneath the stars, small and uncertain, still reaching upward. "This is chaos," one delegate said. "This is growth," another countered. The elder turned to Elias. "Why do you persist, knowing your path has no certainty?" Elias took a breath. "Because certainty doesn't give meaning," he said. "Choice does," the hall responded. Light surged, connecting the two visions, order and chaos, showing paths branching and crossing. Sarava stepped forward. "Our civilizations feared what humanity embraces," she said. "Not destruction, responsibility," the elder frowned. "Responsibility without destiny leads to ruin. Responsibility without choice leads to stagnation," Sarava replied. The debate grew heated. Voices overlapped. Energy spiked. Then the hall changed again. A new vision appeared, this one unexpected. A future. Multiple species stood together, bonded by shared understanding. No single path, no fixed destiny. Cooperation built on trust instead of fear. The covenant pulsed brightly. Elias felt the bond tighten, not painfully but urgently. "This future is not guaranteed," Sarava said quietly. "It requires choice, again and again." The elder studied the vision. "And if they choose poorly, then they learn," Elias said. "Like we always have." Silence fell. The conclave withdrew to decide. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the elder returned. "The trial is concluded," he announced. "The bond is valid." Gasps echoed through the hall. "However," the elder continued, "this changes everything." Sarava inclined her head. "Yes, it does." Elias exhaled slowly. The trial had not condemned humanity. It had challenged the galaxy, and the stars would never look the same again. But acceptance did not mean peace. Across the vast stations and worlds connected to the conclave, fear spread quietly. Not loud fear, not panic. This was the careful fear of those who believed control kept them safe. The Axiom Covenant still burned in the Hall of Meaning, its light steady and calm. That made it worse. Elias Rowan stood beside High Speaker Sarava, watching delegates depart in tight clusters. Some avoided looking at him. Others stared openly, as if trying to understand how someone so ordinary could cause such change. He felt tired, not physically but deeply, in a place words could not reach. Through the bond, Sarava sensed it. "You carry this heavily," she said. Elias gave a small smile. "Humans usually do," she considered that. "You feel responsible even without authority." "That's how we survived," Elias replied. "No one was coming to save us." The bond pulsed softly, acknowledging the truth. The council chamber sealed. Only a few remain now. Elders, strategists, observers who believed the future should move slowly or not at all. One of them stepped forward. Elder Kaler was not Lethari. His species was older than most, long-lived and rigid in belief. His form shimmered with layered shields, symbols of rank floating close. "The Covenant must be contained," Kaler said. "Its spread threatens balance." Sarava faced him. "Balance built on fear is not balance." "It is stability," Kaler countered, "which your people once valued." Sarava did not deny it. Elias stepped forward, careful but firm. "The Covenant doesn't force change," he said. "It only responds when someone chooses honestly." "That is precisely the danger," Kaler replied. "Choice is unpredictable." A murmur of agreement followed. Kaler raised one limb, projecting an image into the air. Star systems dimmed, lines of energy flickered and failed. "This is what uncontrolled change looks like," he said. "Civilizations collapse when certainty breaks." Elias studied the image, or when it never bends. Kaler's gaze sharpened. "Human optimism does not rewrite history." "No," Elias said quietly, "but learning from it does." The bond flared, several delegates recoiled. Sarava felt it too, something shifting, expanding beyond the chamber. "The Covenant is resonating," she said. "Not just here." Alarms sounded. An aide transmitted urgent data. "Multiple systems reporting activation patterns, minor, unstable, spontaneous." Kaler stiffened. "It's spreading." "No," Sarava corrected. "It's responding." Across the conclave, individuals were making choices they had avoided for lifetimes. Leaders questioning old orders, workers imagining new paths, thinkers daring to ask why. The Covenant did not compel them, it listened. Kaler turned sharply toward Elias. "This must stop." "You must stop it." Elias shook his head. "I can't and I wouldn't." "You would risk everything?" Kaler demanded. Elias met his gaze. "We already have, that's how we got here." The room grew tense. Then Kaler made his choice. He signaled. Hidden systems activated, ancient and powerful. The chamber's light flickered as suppression fields surged toward the Covenant's core. Sarava reacted instantly. "Stand down!" Kaler ignored her. "This is for the greater good," he said. Elias felt the bond strain, not breaking, but resisting. The Covenant did not attack. It did not defend. It endured. The suppression fields collapsed inward, not with force, with silence. Systems failed. Energy drained away, leaving only the steady glow of the Covenant. Kaler staggered back, shocked. "Impossible." Sarava's voice was calm but firm. "You cannot suppress choice without destroying yourself." Security forces arrived, surrounding Kaler and his supporters. No violence followed. None was needed. The truth had already done the work. Later, Elias stood alone on a quiet observation platform, stars stretching endlessly before him. For the first time since arriving, he felt the weight lift slightly. Sarava joined him. "The ancients feared this moment," she said. "They feared losing control." Elias nodded. "We feared that too, still do." She studied him. "Yet you continue." "Because stopping would mean giving up who we are," Elias replied, the bond softened, no longer tense. "The Covenant will change the galaxy," Sarava said. "Slowly, unevenly, painfully." Elias smiled faintly. "That sounds familiar." She turned toward him fully. "Humanity did not bring power to the stars." "No," Elias said. "You brought permission," she finished, "to question." They stood in silence. Far away across countless worlds, small choices were being made, not revolutions. Not rebellions, just honest decisions, and that was enough. The stars did not burn brighter, but they felt closer. There were no loud celebrations, no sudden unity, no perfect future formed overnight. Change came quietly. It came in pauses before orders were given. In questions asked where silence once ruled. In leaders who hesitated not from fear but from thought. The Axiom Covenant no longer burned like a sudden flame. It settled into something calmer, steady, present, like a star that had always been there, waiting to be noticed. Elias Rowan stood once more in the central chamber of the conclave. This time he was not alone in the center. Others stood with him. Representatives from many species now shared the space, not bound by the Covenant but aware of it, curious, cautious, open. High Speaker Sarava addressed them all. "The trial is complete," she said. "The resistance has ended. The Covenant stands." Her voice carried no command, only certainty. "The question before us is no longer whether this change should exist," she continued, "but how we will live with it." The delegates listened. Some still feared the future, others felt hope, most felt both. Sarava turned slightly toward Elias. "Human representative," she said, "you may speak." Elias felt every eye turned toward him. Once that would have terrified him, now it felt appropriate. He stepped forward. "I won't pretend humanity has answers," Elias said. "We don't, we never did." That surprised many. "We've made mistakes," he continued. "Big ones we still do, but we learned something early." The chamber was silent. "We learned that waiting for certainty means waiting forever," Elias said, "and that meaning doesn't come from knowing the end. It comes from choosing the next step." He looked around the chamber. "The Covenant didn't respond to humans because we are better," he said. "It responded because we are honest about not knowing." A quiet ripple moved through the delegates. Sarava nodded. "The Conclave recognizes this truth," she announced. "Humanity will not lead the Covenant." Some gasped. "They will not control it," she continued. "They will not command others through it." Elias felt a strange relief. "Humanity will stand as witness," Sarava said, "a reminder of what choice looks like when it is freely made." The title settled into the chamber. Witness, not ruler, not judge, something else. The vote followed. Slowly, carefully, species by species, the conclave accepted the Covenant's return not as law but as possibility. The decision reshaped interstellar society. Rigid castes softened, fixed destinies loosened. Education changed. Leadership became less inherited, more earned, not everywhere, not all at once, but enough. Elias returned to Earth weeks later. The blue world looked the same from orbit, familiar, fragile, alive. When he stepped onto the ground, he felt something he had not expected. Relief. He was greeted quietly, no parades, no grand speeches. Humanity had learned long ago that heroes were temporary, but change was not. Elias walked through a city park, watching children play beneath the open sky. People argued nearby about work, about plans, about ideas. It made him smile. Sarava's presence touched his thoughts gently. The bond remained, not loud, not constant, just there. "You have returned," she said. "Yes," Elias replied silently. "Feels right." "You will no longer stand at the center," she said. "I never wanted to," he answered. She paused. "The galaxy is changing," Sarava said, "because of a question and an honest answer." Elias sat on a bench watching the clouds move. "That's how most of our changes started." "Are you afraid?" she asked. Elias thought for a moment. "Yes," he admitted, "but that's normal." She considered that. "Your people accept fear as part of progress," she said. "We don't like it," Elias replied. "We just don't let it decide for us." Far away among the stars, a young leader from another species paused before issuing an order and asked their council for input instead. A worker chose a new path. A thinker challenged an old belief. Small choices, important ones, the Covenant did not shine brighter, but it endured. Humanity did not become legends of power, they became something stranger, a story the galaxy told itself when facing the unknown, not about conquest, not about superiority, but about the courage to choose. And that, more than any weapon or empire, was what humanity truly gave the stars.